Hello everyone, my name is Rajni Jha. Welcome to Drishti IAS. So I hope everything is clear now. There was some technical issue, that's why it was buffering. Am I audible and visible to all of you? Am I audible and visible to all of you? It should be smooth now, at least. That's what I think. Yes? All right, great. So yes, welcome back to the session. In today's session, we are going to cover chapter number 13th and 14th, both of them, because they are very small chapters and there isn't much to discuss. There are very few concepts and very small concepts, very easy concepts. At least I'll make it easy for you. So we will finish both the chapters, chapter number 13th and 14th as well. It says 13th, but I'll finish 14th also in this session itself. So let's get started with the session. In chapter number 13, which is, the name is The Value of Work. All right, everything is fine? Okay, great. The name is Value of Work, where we try to identify whatever work that you do, what value does it hold? And when I say value, it is not just the abstract value that we talk about, we also talk about the monetary value that the work that you do holds, right? So in this chapter, there is talk about economic and non-economic activities. What is the difference between economic and non-economic activities? If I ask you, tell me, what is the difference between economic and non-economic activities? Yes. Right. What is the difference? Yes, yes. Hello, everyone. Right. Economy is related to, in general, the general definition of economy is it is related to distribution of resources, right? And we use resources for monetary purposes also. So from there you can remember that economic activities, when we talk about them, these are the activities that involve money in some form or the other. So either it is exchange of money, right? Or you get something which has monetary value. So in economic activity, monetary value is involved. When we talk about non-economic activities, on the other hand, here, monetary value is not involved. There is no monetary value as such. There is different kind of value, and that we will talk about. So, for example, what could be the example of economic activity? A businessman selling some goods or products that he is making in his company, or a farmer selling crops, right? Or factory workers, they are selling their labor. So in that case, economic activity is which has some sort of monetary value in it, and non-economic activity is the one in which there is no monetary value involved. So I gave you example of economic activity, right? Wherever money is involved, whether in exchange or you get something which has monetary worth. What will be the example of non-economic activities then? Here money is not involved. Yes. Very good. Right, all of you have given the same definition, and that is great. The basic difference is of monetary value. That is great. Can you give me some examples of non-economic activities? These are the activities that do not generate income or wealth. So they are performed because of some other value. What other values are there in society apart from the money, monetary value? There is love, care, right, respect, those things. A lawyer arguing a case, but a lawyer will be arguing a case to get some monetary return. Of course, you will not do it for free. Then how is that an example of non-economic activity? Social service, NGO, household work. Yes, very good. So when you talk about any household work, household chores, or taking care of the family, cooking for family, helping children with studies, or let's say, for example, I'm a teacher, and apart from my normal work, I try to help students whenever they ask for some advice. Right, even those students who are not a part of my classes of here, from here, I try to help them too. So that part, because I'm not generating any wealth there, I am not getting any money in return, so there is no monetary value involved in that, so that will be considered as non-economic activity. So non-economic activities are activities which do not generate income or wealth. They do not carry monetary value. They carry values in terms of love, care, respect, and so on and so forth. Is it clear? So the example that I gave you of me, that right now I'm teaching and I'm getting some monetary benefit in return, but I also advise students, I do career counseling. If they ask for help, I do help them. outside my class also, to those students also who are not a part of my class. So there I'm not getting anything in return. I'm not getting any monetary value. So that will be a part of non-economic activity, right? So that means one person can be involved in economic activities and non-economic activities both. So one person can do both of these activities, right? Yes, very good. No intention of, yeah, with no intention of earning funds or money, that is non-economic activity. Great. So let's see what is given in the example. You did not understand non-economic activities. See, when you see economic activities, you have to understand that there's some form of money is involved here. Either you are generating money, generating income, generating wealth, you're getting money in return of your service, you're getting money in by selling your products, right? So money is involved here for doing some work. That is economic activity. In non-economic activity, you still do work, but money is not involved. So a teacher teaching in the classroom in an institution where the teacher is getting paid, that will be considered an economic activity. Whereas the same teacher, when that teacher guides a student outside the classroom to the students who are not even the classroom students, or in general teaches somebody in the family, like you can have your cousins, you can have children in the family that want guidance, that need guidance. When a teacher guides them in the family, now the teacher is not getting paid for it because it is a part of the family, right? The student is a part of the family. So the teacher is not getting paid for it. In that case, when it is not generating, that activity is not generating income or wealth, then it is called non-economic activity. Is it clear now? So what could be the example of that? Mother taking care of the family, or parents in general taking care of the family, parents cooking for the family or children. Now they are doing some work, but are they getting paid in money? No, they're not. They're doing it out of love or care or affection. So when money is not involved, the value is not money, the value is love, care, affection, respect, etc., then it is called non-economic activities, right? Or you can volunteer to help each other, or there can be family members who help with something in the house renovation. So those activities will be considered non-economic activities because they do not generate any income or wealth or any money. Is it clear now? Yes. All right. Let's continue. So let's see what is given in the chapter. The chapter says, it talks about economic and non-economic activities. Economic activities are activities that involve money or are performed in exchange for money or something having monetary value. So here, money is the motivator. Right? For example, businessman selling goods. Why would he sell goods? To get money. A farmer selling crops. Again, why? To get money. Lawyer earning a fee. So here fee is the money, right? Truck driver transporting goods. Factory workers. Air Force pilot receiving a salary, or anyone working on salary. So because of this monetary value, all these activities are considered economic activities. And when we talk about non-economic activities, they do not generate income or wealth. They are generally performed because of love, care, gratitude, respect, or desire to serve others, right? Somebody asked about seva. Seva, I'll tell you better. It is given in this chapter at the end. I'll explain it to you. Don't worry. So, for example, parents cooking for the family, or helping children with studies, taking care of grandparents, or when you help or take care of your parents or your siblings when they are sick. So that is also a form of work, but you are not doing it so that you get money in return. There is no money involved here, so that will be considered non-economic activity. Now, the important distinction given here is, the important point is, the same person can perform both types of activities as I gave you the example, right? Next is, what are the types of economic activities? There could be salary. Salary is when you get fixed or regular income, right? There can be different types of economic activities, activities where you get money in some form or the other. So their first can be salary. Salary is the fixed or regular payment. The regular employee of any company gets salary. Then there is wage. Wage means, wage is a payment made to a worker for a specific period of time, right? For example, we say daily wage worker. So they work on a daily basis and they get paid on a daily basis. So they get paid on the basis of the work done for a specific time, for a specific period of time. In this case, for that particular day. Right? So wage is for a particular specific period of work. When they work, they get paid. Next is a fee. What is a fee? Fee is usually given for professional service or advice, right? For example, you don't say, when you visit a doctor, do you say that you pay salary to a doctor? No, you don't pay salary to a doctor, right? Okay, so do you pay wage to a doctor? No, that is also not right. Then what do you pay? You pay the fees, right? Or the fee, to be precise. So when you take professional advice or services, then that is called a fee. For example, doctor's fee, lawyer's fee, or tutor's fee. This is for service or services, right? Then there is payment made in kind. In kind means for something similar. So when you pay in something which is not money. So for example, a farmer can be working in a field and he can get a part of his payment in money and the rest of his payment in terms of the crop that he grows, right? In fact, you must have seen in village areas when you get house help in village areas especially, what they are offered is they get a little amount in payment in money and they'll get food or they'll get some clothes also. So that is payment in kind. When you don't pay in money, you pay in anything else except money, that is called payment in kind. Okay, let's continue. Next is market. What is a market? Market is a place where people exchange goods and services. We go to the market to buy stuff, right? So market is a place where a person has come to sell something and a person has come to buy something. So there is exchange of goods and it can be services also. That is called market. Next is, okay, so there is one very important concept given in this chapter, which is value addition. What does that mean? Every economic activity is not done just to earn money. Value addition is when you add some value. So every economic activity is not completely converted into money. There is some value that is added to it. For example, let's say here the example is given, a carpenter's example is given. So they buy woods for 600. This was product's price, right? Raw materials price 600. Then he uses his skill to convert this wood into let's say a chair or any furniture, and then he sells it for 1000 rupees. So but he bought woods worth only 600. He sold it for 1000 rupees. Why? Because this 400 that he paid extra, that is for the value that he added. This is called value addition. He used his skills to add some value to the raw product, raw material, and then he made a product out of it. So that is called value addition. So economic activities don't merely involve earning money. They also increase the value of something by transforming it into another form. As we saw, we have raw material, then you use skill to transform that raw material, and then you deliver a product. That skill that you use to transform the raw material, that is the value addition in this case. Is it clear? Yes, is it clear? In kind. That was barter system, beta, not barter system. That was barter system. Yes. Okay. Next is, now what is the importance of non-economic activity? What is the importance? The importance is that non-economic activities are done because of care, kind, gratitude, respect, etc. So in the society, the abstract value that we add to society is because of non-economic activities. So we cannot say that is not important. Right? They are important because they create social and personal values. Social and personal values, for example, when family takes care of each other, that creates personal value. When you take care of somebody, or when you take care of people in an NGO, let's say, you went to teach in an NGO, right? Or somebody said that in orphanage people usually go and work, right? So that adds social value. So this contributes to social welfare, of course. This also contributes to family relationships. Your connections, your relationships become better when you take care of your friend, for example. Do you take care of your friend when your friend is sick because you're going to get some money out of it? No. You do it out of love, care and affection. So it builds relationships, it builds connections, it builds family relationships. It overall makes your life better. It improves the quality of life. That is why non-economic activities are also important. Let's see what is given here. They create social and personal value. They contribute to social welfare, as I told you, personal well-being, family relations, community development, and overall quality of life. So that means just because here there is no money involved does not mean there is no value. So when you talk about value, value is not simply in terms of money. Value can be in terms of social and personal value as well. So here, because there is no money involved, will you say that there is no value here? No, you won't say that. So money and value should not be equated every time. That's what this chapter is trying to tell you. Now, somebody asked about seva, right? So seva is called selfless service. In fact, you would have seen in gurdwaras. This concept is very famous in gurdwaras. They especially even very wealthy people, businessmen, they go to gurdwaras for seva, this selfless service. So what is seva? Seva means when you, selfless services, when you try to help people without expecting anything in return, that is called selfless service, right? And that's what is the concept of seva. It involves helping others without expecting anything in return. For example, langars or community kitchens at Gurdwara, as I told you, right? When you distribute prasad, are you expecting something out of this? No, you just distribute prasad, right? Then voluntary community services. These are the examples of seva, and these create satisfaction and gratitude, and overall this creates stronger social bonds. Okay, next is community participation. As we have talked about non-economic activities, and we saw that we do a lot of activities in the community also out of respect or care for others, right? And community participation is such example. So people come together to perform activities that benefit the entire community. For example, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. There, citizens collectively participated in keeping their homes, streets, roads, parks, public places clean. So this was not just individual effort, this was community effort. This was an effort made by everyone combined so that we can have cleaner neighborhood, we can have cleaner society and cleaner nation. Similarly, there is Van Mahotsav. What is Van Mahotsav? As the name suggests, one is related to forest. Mahotsav is when you celebrate something like a festival or festivities. So it promotes awareness about the importance of trees, forest conservation, and here also, even when you try to conserve anything in nature, you need community participation, because it does not matter how many laws or policies government comes up with, how many programs the government tries to implement. If you want to save anything natural, the people living in that area have to also participate in that, right? So it has to be a community effort if you want it to succeed. So community participation in tree plantation drives, all these are example of community participation, right? Festivals also include collective activities. What collective activities? Such as decorating places, preparing food, sharing it, and all of this have social and cultural value. So again, they're trying to emphasize with different community participation programs that just because something does not involve the exchange of money or the making of money or you getting money, it does not mean it does not have value. It can have personal value, it can have social value, right? It can have community value. Is it clear to everyone? Yes. Like Chipko movement, it was done to save trees. So that was also community participation. Okay, and that was all in this chapter. Chapter number 13 is over. Let's move to chapter number 14. This is, I've given this in the PDF. Whatever I've just taught you, everything is given in this table. So this one table completes everything. As you can see, economic activity is activity involved in monetary value. For example, selling goods. Then non-economic activity, which is done without any monetary motivation, that is without any motivation to get money in return or exchange of money, for example, caring for grandparents. Then what is salary? A regular fixed payment is called salary. For example, a monthly employee salary is the example. Wage, which is paid for a specific period of work. For example, daily wage worker. So they work daily and they get paid daily. So they get paid for that particular day, that is specific period of work, right? Example, daily farm wage. Then fee, it is for professional services. So this is fee is not paid for goods, it is paid for services. Then payment in kind, where non-cash payment is done. For example, you receive crop as payment. Market is a place for exchange of goods and services. For example, vegetable market. Then value addition, when you increase the value of a raw material by transforming it into final product using your skills. That is value addition. For example, from wood to furniture. And finally, seva, which is selfless service. For example, community services or langar. Is it clear? Okay. Next. Beta, seva is also an example of, for seva is selfless service, right? And community can come together to do that. So seva can be under community participation also. They don't have to be completely separate. Okay, next is chapter number 14, which also talks about economic activities, but it talks about the three sectors: primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. I'm sure you must have heard it. What is the difference between primary, secondary, and tertiary sector? When you talk about economic activities, what is the difference between primary, secondary, and tertiary sector? Yes. When we talk about primary sector is when you directly depend on nature to get the product, right? To provide raw materials. For example, agriculture. In agriculture, we directly depend on the nature to get the material that we are going to sell, or fisheries, or mining, or forestry. We get raw material directly from nature. What is secondary sector? Secondary sector is when you process these raw materials and make something out of it. That is secondary sector. For example, you got cotton, right? And from cotton you made clothes. So cotton I got directly from nature, that is primary, and from cotton I made clothes, that is secondary, right? Or any manufacturing for that matter, making clothes, manufacturing, construction, automobile, all these are examples of secondary sector. Yes, primary is related to agriculture, primary is directly related to nature. Wherever I'm getting the raw materials from directly from nature, that is primary sector. For secondary sector, I get raw material from the primary sector, right? Okay, and tertiary sector is when you provide services. Yes, somebody said teacher. Yes, so the tertiary sector provides services that support primary and secondary sector. So for example, I got cotton, right? From cotton, I made cloth or finalized clothes, and then I used transportation to transport those clothes. So that transportation is the service that ensures that the final product reaches the market. That is tertiary sector. The services are involved in the tertiary sector. So primary sector is when I get the raw material directly from nature. Secondary sector is when I get raw material from the primary sector. And tertiary sector supports primary and secondary activities. This provides services, right? Let's see. So chapter 14 talks about economic activities around us, and it is divided into three sectors: primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. And it also shows that these three sectors are interdependent. As I told you that primary sector I got raw material from nature. For secondary sector I got raw material from primary sector, and tertiary sector ensures that this primary and secondary sector activities can be done smoothly, right? Next is economic activities. We have already discussed economic activities are those activities which generate monetary value. Now, what are the three sectors? Primary sector is something that depends directly on nature. So it provides raw material. And here example is agriculture, fishing, mining, forestry, livestock. All those things in which you get the raw material directly from nature is under primary sector. Second is secondary sector, where you process raw materials from the primary sector into final products. For example, the manufacturing sector, construction material, making clothes, furniture, automobiles, these are the examples of secondary sector. And tertiary sector, these provide services that support primary and secondary activities. For example, banking, transport, trade, healthcare, education, communication. Basically, the services are under tertiary sector. So primary sector gets resources. This sector gets resources from nature. Secondary sector transforms these resources into final products, and tertiary sector provides services that can help both these. Because if you really think about it, here I got raw material from nature, and maybe I want to transport that from the go down to the manufacturing unit. So for that transportation also I need something. That transportation comes under the service sector, right? So this helps, tertiary sector helps both primary and secondary sector to function properly, smoothly. Is it clear? Pretty easy concepts, right? Okay, so as I told you, these cannot function independently. These are related to each other. For example, if we talk about farmer, farmer produces milk from cows. So he gets milk from cows directly from nature. Factories process those milks into milk packets, pasteurized milk, and then butter, cheese, and other curd, etc. Right? Milk powder, ghee, whey protein, that also requires milk. And then tertiary sector, what they do is they provide you transport, shops, and retails, and where you can transport these products and also sell these products. So they are interdependent. Let's see what else is given here. Yeah, so here they have talked about the interdependence of the three sectors. I've already told you that. And finally, they have given example of Amul cooperative. They have given the example. So Amul has been used in this chapter to show how cooperation can improve economic position of the producers. Farmers earlier, see what used to happen. Farmers earlier dependent on middlemen, and they bought milk cheaply from the farmers and sold it at very high prices. So the middleman was getting all the benefit, not the farmers. But then these farmers formed a cooperative, and what they did is they collectively collected milk, right, and then started processing it and selling it, and that became Amul. Amul was established in 1946 under the leadership of Tribhuvan Das Patel and Dr. Varghese Kurien. And this helped farmers increase their income and gain greater control over their produce, because here farmers are getting benefit because there is no middleman here, right? So they have just given you example of how when you make cooperative, in cooperatives you can increase your income. Middleman usually takes all the income, all the cream of the milk, and the farmers usually are left behind with very few pennies or not at all. But this cooperative is an example where you can make a cooperative and then farmers get the benefit. Even the cooperatives become huge. Now Amul, we know, right? It has become such a huge brand because of this. Yes, is it clear to everyone? That's it. And with this, we come to the end of chapter 14 also, and we are done with class 6th NCERT. Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, please ask. Do you have any questions? Yes. Any questions? Yes, he is called the father of white revolution in India. That is true. No questions. All right, so that's it for today's session, and we are done with class 6th NCERT completely. I will see you again in some other topic. All right, great. How to improve writing skills. Ravi, I have made one video on it. In fact, there are 2 videos on answer writing. You can watch both of them. I have explained to you what you can do as a beginner and how you can start. And for writing skills, you have to practice. So you have to start somewhere. So watch those videos and you'll get some idea, then start writing. And before you start writing, of course, you should know some content, because otherwise, what will you write? Somebody asked, then what if, okay, I understand the framework, but what if I don't know the content at all? I haven't read anything, then how would I write? You can't. It's as simple as that. The UPSC examination is an examination where you also need knowledge. It's not like you get all the tricks and tips and then you can just tackle this exam. You need knowledge. That is the basic, right? That is the foundation. So you can't say, oh, I don't know the content, but I know how to write. So what do I write? Because I don't know what to write. You can't do that. So study first. Even if you study a little bit, make a question out of it and then practice. All right, so that's it for today's session. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you again soon. Until then, take care.